So now the key point though is that um most men acknowledge all of those things that you brought up, but there was something.
No, they don't. Look at all us shaking our head. No, they don't, Viz.
All right,
That's not
so
our
They
experience.
don't.
well,
And that's what
so
I mean by
all
patriarchy,
well,
respectfully. You know, there
I
are
get that. I get that. Let me
Remember,
finish. Let me
y'all are
okay.
not
finish.
the.
Let me finish. So if you guys are not receiving that, then that means that you're not in good and healthy relationships,
That's what I'm saying. Viz.
and or you're not adapting to understand how that man communicates. Because in order, if men communicate one way, women communicate another way, and you're only expecting for him to learn how to communicate with you, but you're not learning to communicate with him, then there's always going to be confusion there. That's always going to happen. So that comes with having a healthy and good relationship.
But these examples that we're speaking about right now are not the healthy ones. You know what I mean? That's what
What
we're saying. Like when it comes to the dating
that's
pool,
that at that point, the only observation that we can give is that that is poor decision making, right?
No,
So
Viz.
so so now
No.
there
regardless
was
on
something.
her
Let me
part,
let me
yeah,
finish. Let me finish.
Mm.
So there was something that you had said, Di, when you was like, dudes be like, oh man, she play like a girl, or if a guy said, oh, she throw like a girl, or something, that doesn't mean that that's something bad. That just means that women, of course, aren't the same as men. You can't compete on the same level, which is why there's a whole thing about having trans women not in sports with women, because that's just what it is. So for a man to say that, oh, she throw like a girl, that doesn't mean that doesn't mean that it's something bad. That just means that she throws like a girl.
so I feel like you
There's
want to pick and
definitely a
choose which
negative
example
connotation
that I
attached to
give you.
that.
And when I
I
say
can
that,
explain
it's
that one.
because I also gave the example when it came down to the little boys. This is the reason why it's so hard for y'all to connect with us in the first place. When there's a little boy crying, he fell, he hurt his knee, there's blood everywhere. He's 2 years old. Get up, stop crying like a little girl, stop acting like a little girl. Versus, okay, let me wipe your knee. You cool? Look, you see you okay? Look, you not gonna die.
So
Breathe. It's cool. There's
The
things
reason
like that.
why,
And
do you
can I
want
explain
to
that?
be do you
The,
want to be with a soft man that cries
no,
when
it
he
has
falls?
nothing to do with being
listen,
soft.
the,
Everybody gets
the
emotional, and
the
that's the
reason why,
problem. When y'all make it seem like emotions and having any type of emotion is only attached to women, it
no,
stops y'all from
That's
opening up
not what
that
that
type of.
means. That's
No, but
not
I'm
what that
telling you,
that's
that's
not what
means.
how a
that
lot of
means.
your men take it. You have to remember, y'all say this a lot of times on this podcast. Y'all are not the norm when it comes down to men. And this the connect when it
Die,
comes down to our pool of men who are not like you. They are not emotionally in tune enough to be
die.
like you said, sit down. You said that at the beginning of your statement. Most men would do that. Yes, most husbands, but if you're married, that means you were healed and healthy enough to be married. We're talking about the people that's still single. We're talking about the people that still having that disconnect. We're talking about the people that still can't get it together, and the women that's constantly leaving after what he say every 1 to 2 years. I 100% agree with you on that though. I do agree that women don't know how to sometimes communicate, or they're not communicating correctly. I do feel like women are not prioritizing the right things at times. And then when they look at the outcome, they're like, oh, well, why is it like this? Well, you weren't concerned about his mental health. You weren't concerned about how he was dealing with things. So then he went off and got another woman who was willing to listen to those type of things, but you was too busy worried about getting this, and that. And then when things start changing, you didn't notice the mood in his behavior because you was too busy trying to take things from him. I definitely understand those situations as well. But what we're saying is, remember back in the day, yeah, like I said, back in the day, y'all men didn't have these problems. Y'all didn't have these problems. And
What
we as women,
problems?
when it comes to getting our rights and like she said, she might be going about it the wrong way. We understand that. We
It ain't no
understand she.
might
We're
be.
not making not might. You're right. I 100% agree. She
Like,
is going about it the wrong way. We're not. I'm not. We're not. I don't. Well, I can't speak for anybody else. I'm not saying this as a reason to justify what she's doing. Let me say that. I'm not using these examples. I'm giving you these examples so you can put yourself in a woman's shoes and possibly understand how a woman thinks. Like we said, and like I said at the beginning of our previous statement, when y'all do things in our head, we like, why would you do that? That don't make sense to us. But just because it don't make sense to me, don't mean it won't make sense to you. So in order for me to help you and get through to you and communicate with you and break this barrier, I have to put myself in your shoes and find out how it makes sense so I can really empathize with what you're feeling. We're trying to tell you how we feel as women. Y'all might not understand because the world telling y'all that y'all have to do this, this, and that, and like y'all some stand up guys here. Y'all married women, y'all likable to women. Y'all know how to deal with them. But far as us single women in the pool that we're coming up against in our mid 30s, you know what I'm saying? These are the issues where we still addressing.
All right, that phenomena that you're describing, that you're talking about, that's the consequence of women comparing themselves to men and trying to be like men. And I'm going to show you how you're not even realizing that this is universal. Anything that behaves the opposite of what it's supposed to be is going to be considered bad. So, for example, if I say that girl walks like a man, if I say she's shaped like a man, she has a chest like a man, would you say that that's, oh, women tearing down men? Because what's wrong with having a chest like a man? What's wrong with walking like a man? What's wrong with talking like a man? Obviously, you're internalizing that and you're dragging it. The reality is the reason why it would be weird for a woman to sound like a man is because generally women don't sound like men. Generally, women sound like women. So when a woman sounds like a man, even children can realize that there's something wrong and off there. That's just what it is. If a car has two wheels when it's supposed to have four and it's not a motorcycle, there's something wrong. You get what I'm saying? There's something wrong. So what you're doing is you're making it a thing about patriarchy and about men putting these labels to tear down women when this is just the natural human nature response to the language. This is just what it is. Most women will view it negatively if you attribute traits of a man to them, and most men will view it negatively if you attribute traits of a woman to them, simply because guess what? He's not a woman and you're not a man. So why would you want to be associated with the traits of something that you are the opposite of? If I'm a bird, I don't want to be called a cat. And if I'm a cat, I don't want to be called a bird because we're not the same thing. If I'm Italian, I don't want to be called Mexican. And if I'm Mexican, I don't want to be called Chinese. That's just what it is. It has nothing to do with, oh, I'm Mexican and I hate Chinese people. No, I'm not Chinese. So don't refer to me as Chinese. That's just what it is.
Well,
And
the
it's
issue
like
with
women
that,
have this,
the issue with that
women
is
have
that the
this,
traits
I'm
that
being
women
interrupted.
attribute to
I'm being
men
interrupted. Women have this uncanny ability to internalize things and make it about them somehow. Like this is somehow an attack on women. And it's not. It's literally just the way the language works. This is not about y'all. And again, I'm gonna double down on my earlier point. Again, you keep saying we experienced, we're telling you how we feel, what we went through. None of you at all on this panel, and even in the generation before you, have ever lived during a time where any of this patriarchy ever existed. My problem is not the fact that you're speaking on the point. My problem is that you speak about it emotionally as though you've lived it. You speak about it with such passion as though you've ever experienced a man saying to you, you not being able to eat because you didn't fix your man his dinner the right way. Like that's not your lived experience. Like none of you women are limited to your options based off what a man is doing for you. So the fact that you guys keep framing it like that, it literally makes no sense. And I feel like you guys are trying to usurp someone else's pain in order to make your point and in order to give you an advantage. And that's not fair. That's not realistic. The women of the past actually went through that, and they are the only ones that deserve to claim that. Y'all don't. You don't get that. They died and dealt with the pain on your behalf. Hey, hold on, stop. You ever heard the expression, Hove did that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that? Hove did that. They did that for y'all so that you
patriarchy
would have to
says
experience.
a system of
So
society.
show some respect.
Time up,
So hold on, let me end
Patriarchy
my
says
sentence. Let me end my sentence and I'm done. We need to show more respect for the sacrifices those women that actually lived through it made, instead of women of today trying to take credit for something they did not experience. That would be like me trying to take credit for my ancestors that died in a war. It's ridiculous.
So
patriarchy
is
that
a
patriarchy
system
does
of
not
society
exist,
or
just saying
government in
racism
which
doesn't
men
exist.
hold the
I
power
said
and
patriarchy doesn't
women
exist,
are
and that shows
largely
how much I don't listen. Your
ladies.
lack of listening skills is apparent, because I never said patriarchy doesn't exist. But you see what you did? Rather than address the points I made, you're trying to gaslight me and make it seem as though I said patriarchy doesn't exist in
Not
order to make my
gaslighting.
argument seem ridiculous. But I'm not slow, so I'm not good with it. I don't let the gaslighting slide. I deal with women like this all the time. Y'all try this. It's the silent language: shame, insults, guilt, and the need to be right. But it doesn't work on me. So let's move on.
Feminism is the belief in social, economic, and political equality of the sexes, whereas patriarchy is a system of society or government in which men hold the power and women are largely excluded.
Who's the
So
vice
back in the
president?
day, women would have been excluded. Back in the day, women should have been excluded, because you want to know why? We didn't have access to all the resources that men had access to. We didn't have all the rights that you had access to. We didn't have all the education that you guys have access to. We didn't have a chance to learn how to budget. We
Not
couldn't open
you.
up
Don't say we, because you was never there.
bank.
Don't say
I let
we.
you
What, you
talk.
wasn't in the
I
gym
let
with
you
them
talk to
shoes.
the timer was
You
up.
not
I let
we.
you
She
talk
can't
to
You
the
say
not
timer
we.
was
included in
She's
up.
that we,
talking
I
about
baby.
let you talk
women.
to the
Hold on,
timer
hold
was
on,
up.
stop. Y'all
I
let us
let you
finish.
talk to the
Y'all women
timer
ain't
was up.
included
Stop.
in that we, because
Stop, let
y'all
us finish.
wasn't there. So stop it.
How dare
Y'all
You
let
you?
us
wasn't
finish.
there, baby.
How dare
Oh
you?
no, you lost me on
So,
that one.
like I said,
Look,
How
How
dare
dare I
you?
tell the
we're in
truth?
the era of pronouns, so just let us
How
know if you
dare
want to
I
be a
tell the
man,
truth?
woman,
so let me
whatever
finish
you
my
want
Hey,
to be. It
thought.
don't really matter at this point.
Just let
let
me
Kelly
finish
get
my
in.
thought.
One mic,
Damn,
y'all.
how
And
One
dare
to
mic.
I
be
tell the
honest
Hold
truth?
with
on.
That
you,
is my duty, baby. That's my
Just let
duty
me
to
and to
tell the
be
finish my
truth.
honest
thought.
with you,
How
the
dare you
truth
tell a
is
lie? I'm a
there
grown ass
are
man. Y'all trying to
men.
lie to me like I'm a sucker or something. How dare you? Fuck is you
There
talking to,
are
baby?
men that want to
First
be
of
Hold
like
on.
all,
women.
Hold
just
on.
let
It's
me
a
Hold
lot
finish
of
on.
my
y'all that
Fuck
want to
thought.
be
is you
like
talking to?
women.
Get your
I'm
shit
gonna
Can I
be
on,
just
baby.
quiet
I'm
and I'm
grown.
gonna address
Y'all men
what
want
Hey,
everybody
now,
everything.
hold
said.
on,
Y'all
y'all.
want to
Hold on.
take.
Hold
Y'all
on.
want
Hold
to
on.
take our men and
Hey.
everything. Okay.
Baby, I'm grown. I don't play them games. Stop it.
I'm gonna start muting people, y'all.